we're showing our respect and our due diligence here. All right, let's give it a round of applause for us. How we doing tonight? First thing I want everybody to do is to stand up. And I want you all to repeat after me. I am in control of my reality. I am powerful beyond my greatest imagination. I have within me greatness. I am committed to discovering, nurturing, and enhancing that greatness. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, listen, Cam. I want to start off by telling you a little bit about myself, and the reason that I'm telling you this is because I want you all to know one thing. You do not have to finish where you start. I was born to a 16-year-old mother who was a drug addict, who was incarcerated at the time of my birth. I was in foster homes for the first 9 years of my life, where I experienced all kinds of abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, mental. I was adopted at the age of 9 years old by a single white homosexual man. And the reason that I point that out to you is because we have a habit of getting used to certain things. See, I grew up in the ghetto, and I had to move from the ghetto up to the suburbs, surrounded by people who looked nothing like me, who talked nothing like me, who had a background nothing like me. I later on went on to develop a drug and alcohol issue. And I would walk around with my eyes down because I could not face anybody looking for change so I could go buy a bottle. But you do not have to end up where you start, because today here I am with confidence and knowing that I have greatness and power within myself, addressing all of you fine young men. And the reason that happened is because when I was young, somebody told me the most important thing that anybody can ever tell somebody, and I'm going to share it with you. You have greatness within you, but you are responsible for discovering that greatness and bringing that greatness out of you. What I really want to talk about tonight is what a championship mindset is. Anybody have any idea what I mean by that?
Championship mindset. Championship mindset is someone that is just confident in his ability because of the work that he's put in. He's confident in his ability because of the success that he's had through the work and the execution that he has put in hours and hours and hours. The belief, the confidence of being a good teammate, and to understand that being a champion, takes a group, not just one person.
Per Google, obviously you hear the word champion, you think somebody wants a trophy. But per Google, there's a second definition that says a champion is a person who fights or argues for a cause on or behalf of someone else.
If you have a championship mindset, do you think that also means to win? Yes or no? Yes. Does that mean that you win under any circumstances?
No.
Yes.
See, to have a championship mindset, that means that every single day you wake up with the mentality that you're going to win, that you're going to conquer, that you're going to overcome. Whatever obstacles, whatever circumstances exist in front of you. Can anybody say that they wake up every single morning with that mindset? Show of hands. Because you have the ability to. Because I've already told you that you have greatness within you. This is the time of your life where you are to dream. To dream big, to decide what your future will look like. You're all going to be adults within a short period of time, and you're going to be responsible for your own life. This is the time that you decide what your life is going to look like. What success means to you, because success means something different to everybody. For some people, success may mean that they make $1 million a year, that they have a big mansion, that they have a beautiful wife, 2 kids, a white picket fence. Success to somebody else could mean that they make enough money just to get by, that they do service work, that they care for other people. So you have to decide what success looks like to you. And when you decide what that is, you have the obligation to wake up every single morning with a championship mindset to get that. How did you guys do this year? How have you done so far? Who's the star? There's no stars. Everybody's a star? I can't hear you. You're all good at different things, and that's what makes you a team, correct? And that's the key to life, is that you have to decide what your talents are, what your abilities are. You do yourself a terrible injustice if you spend your whole life comparing yourself to somebody else. Your success does not have to look like anybody else's success. I want to give you a couple examples of what a championship mindset is. Let's go back to Super Bowl 51. Tom Brady against the Patriots against Atlanta. Third quarter. The Patriots are down 28-3. Third quarter. What was it about Tom Brady's mentality that they drove the game into overtime, came back and won it 34-28? What do you think he was thinking? Exactly. He was thinking, there's no way for me to lose. So many people watching that game, the spectators, believed that he would lose, but nobody told Tom Brady. And if they did, he did not believe it. I want you to go back with me in time to 1800s. Anybody ever heard of the Wright brothers? What did they do? They invented passenger flying, passenger airlines. When they were five years old, their dad brought them home a Panat helicopter as a toy. And they played with it, and they played with it. And they become obsessed with this concept that man could fly. And they were determined to invent passenger airlines. And they would come up with a concept. They would try it out. It would fail. They would come up with another concept. They would try it out. They would fail. This passion that they had within them drove them. It took them 20 years to be able to accomplish their goal. And along the way, so many people said, you're crazy. If man were meant to fly, God would have given us wings. People called them, they said they lost their mind. They called them all kind of crazy names. But you know what they ultimately ended up calling them? Pioneers. The reason that I point that out to you is because when you have a dream, or you have a goal, or you have something that you want, it may not happen overnight. Just like in the Super Bowl, it took 3 quarters for Tom Brady to get into his rhythm. Your life is going to be the exact same way. You're going to have a dream, and you're going to pursue it, and people are going to try to talk you out of it because they care about you, and they don't want you to waste your time. There's going to be people that hate on you, and they're going to tell you that you're stupid. There's going to be people that are going to try to distract you from it. But hold true to it. There is no dream that is too big. Maybe the world is too small, and your job is to enlarge it. No dream is impossible. It simply means that it hasn't been done yet. Les Brown always says that people do not fail because they set their goals too high and they miss. They fail because they set their goals too low and they achieve them. Dream big. You have greatness within you. How many times this season have you shot and made it and were surprised by your shot? Show of hands. See, one of the things we learn in sports is that we're capable of doing stuff that we didn't think that we could do. Any of the dreams that you have, the thing that's going to make you achieve it is your belief in yourself. And how do we strengthen our belief in ourselves? We set goals, little goals, and we achieve them. We show up when we say we're going to show up. We have amazing work ethic. How many hours a day do you guys practice?
2 hours.
So you practice with the coach 2 hours a day. How much time do you spend on your own practicing?
A lot.
Extra hour? Let's look at Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest of all times. Kobe had this thing called the 666, which means that 6 months out of the year, he practiced 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. You may have amazing talent, but in order to be successful, you have to have amazing work ethic. See, just having a dream isn't enough. You got to wake up and show up for your life every single day. You need to show up and stand out. That's what makes champions. How many of you are willing to do that? Show of hands. So I hear you saying that now, but the question is will you really do it? You have a lot of the season left, right? All of you can get better, correct? And one of the things needed to get better is that you have to improve your work ethic. Would you agree with that? So when does that start? Next week? Next month? It has to start now. The other thing I want to let you in on is there is nothing other than right now. The only time that we have is right this minute. So anything that you tell yourself, any commitment that you make to yourself, be willing to do it right this minute. No excuses. Anybody ever heard of Oprah Winfrey? Let me tell you a little bit about Oprah Winfrey that you may not know. She was born in the 50s and went through all kind of racial discrimination. Her family was poor. She moved in with her dad when she was like 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old. She got molested by her uncle when she was 14. Had a child when she was 14. The child ended up dying right after it was born. If Oprah would have stayed in that mindset and been the victim, would it have been easy for her to do? I mean, how many of you make excuses for your life? Like, I would have done better, I would have been more successful if only this had happened, or if only that had happened, if this person would have done this. Oprah had the perfect excuse to sit still and not do anything. Would you agree? But she took responsibility for her life. She had a vision. Somehow Oprah knew that she was meant and built to do something so much bigger. She got a scholarship to college, ended up dropping out of college because she became a broadcast person, and the rest is history. The reason I point that out is because going through life, you will have amazing opportunities to not stand on business. A lot of reasons to come up with excuses and not follow through. But when you give up on yourself, when you start believing yourself or believing your excuses, it hits differently than when somebody else gives up on you. Because you're ultimately telling yourself that you do not deserve the best possible outcome. There has to be no excuses. A championship mentality means that there is no excuses. If I make a commitment to myself, if I make a decision, I am going to follow through because I am worth it. Because I believe that I have greatness within me. And I have made a commitment to develop that greatness and to bring that greatness out. Michael Jordan, can we agree that he was another great? Michael Jordan would do this thing where in practice, he had 5 or 6 shots that he would just focus on shooting. Michael Jordan will admit that he missed more shots than he ever made. But he would also do this thing called this visualization. He would visualize. He would sit and he would visualize every single possible outcome to every single situation. And the reason that he did that is mental memory. So when he got in that situation, it was almost like he had already been in that situation and he knew exactly how to maneuver through it. Michael Phelps did the exact same thing. One of the greatest swimmers in the world. He would sit and he would think about and visualize every single possibility. The reason I bring this up is because our mind is the most powerful tool we have. If I can see it, if I can believe it, then I can achieve it. Everything happens twice in life. First it happens in your mind, and then it happens in reality. I want you all to start spending some time every single day and visualizing what the life that you ultimately want looks like. What your version of success looks like. How it feels to be in that life. Spend time thinking about it. Because the more time you spend and the more clarity that you have around it, the more chance you will have of actually accomplishing it. I say over and over and over again, the possibilities of your life and what it looks like is endless. But it will all be determined by you. I want to end this with a story. There's a guy named John. And John, the whole time growing up, he visualized his whole life. And his life consisted of being married, having a nice big house, having a job where he made a lot of money, white picket fence. He went to school, he stayed focused, he did everything that he was supposed to do, and one day his dream became true. He got a nice job that paid him good money. When he was in college, he met the girl of his dreams. He got married. He had a son named Tim. Perfect life. Over the next 5 years, he got promotion after promotion after promotion. He's got this new bride at home who's taking care of his kids. He's not spending any time. She ends up asking for a divorce. So she divorces him. Now, John can only see Tim every other weekend. And because of this job, when you get promotions, there's always responsibility. So every weekend, he ends up bringing all this work home that he has to catch up with. And he starts to feel bad because Timothy is getting neglected. So what he made himself a decision, he said, this weekend, I'm going to make sure that I spend time with my son. So he talks to Timothy during the week and he says, listen, this weekend is our time. Regardless of what happened, it's going to be our time. Friday comes around. Same as usual. He's got all this work that he has to catch up with. And he doesn't know what he's going to do. He goes and he picks Timothy up. And a 5-year-old gets excited about stuff like that. He picks him up and Timothy's like, our time, what are we going to do? It's our time. Right? He's got all this energy. John starts to feel guilty. They end up driving back to the house. As soon as he gets out, Timothy runs out of the car full of excitement, starts stomping around, our time. You know how kids do, right? Starts stomping, and it seems like with kids, the more stomping you do, the better it is. So he's making all this noise, and John just feels completely guilty. They go up into the house. John goes in his office. Timothy's running around like crazy. He says, Tim, just go put your coat in the bedroom and get situated, and we'll do something. Timothy goes and puts the stuff in, comes running back. Our time, what are we going to do? John goes in his office and sits for a minute. Says, go watch some TV just for a couple minutes. Let me get situated and we'll do something. 2 minutes later, here comes Timothy again, excited about our time. He happens to be looking at his desk, and on his desk is a National Geographic. I don't even know if they still have those. They got a National Geographic, and on the cover of it is a picture of the world. And he gets this great idea. He rips the cover off, goes into the living room with Timothy, and he's like, this is what we're gonna do. It's our time. He rips the picture of the world up in 1,000 different pieces, or however many pieces he could come up with. He drops them on the floor. He says, Timothy, when you put this back together, we'll play. And he's proud of himself because he's a genius, right? He just bought at least an hour, half an hour to go get his work done. Goes in his office, sits down, pulls out his first case, starts going through it. He gets that caught up. Pulls out another one. He gets that caught up. Here comes Timothy. Our time, I'm done. And John's like, there's no way that you could have put this back together so quick. He said, how did you put it together so quick? He says, come on, I'll show you. He goes, and sure enough, it's together. Timothy looks at him with these big eyes, happy, full of excitement. He says, Daddy, there was a picture of a man on the other side. And when I put the man together, the world fell into place. Timothy discovered what it took me most of my life to discover, that your problem will never be out there. Your problem will never be your parents. Your problem in your game will never be what the other teammate did. Your problem will never be outside of you. You will be your problem, and you will be your solution. The only thing that you have control over is you, your thoughts, your mindset, your work ethic. So when you go out on that court, if you have a bad game, whose problem is it? No, it's really the team's problem, but it's your fault. Because you're not only playing for yourself, you're playing for the team. So the team depends on you taking responsibility for practicing on your own. Takes responsibility for you following through with all the things that you said that you were going to follow through with as you maneuver through life. If you didn't get that job, you can come up with excuses to not do anything, or you can look for another job. You can come up with your version of success, and if you do not do the necessary work to achieve that, it's on you. You are responsible for how your life ends up. You are responsible if you have that wife and that picket fence and the 2.5 kids and a good job. You're responsible if you end up poor and you don't have anything. See, that's the beauty right now, is you have the ability to dream, and you have the ability to dream big. So dream the impossible. Bet on yourself. Be your own hero. Be the star in your own movie. Whatever it is that you want out of life, you can have, because you have greatness within you. So take the time to investigate that greatness, to discover what it is, to nourish it, to embrace it, and to show it to the world. I want to thank all of you for giving me this little bit of time to talk, and I hope that you take these words to heart, because you truly are in control of your life, and your life could be amazing. So thank you.
Make sure we give, hey, you guys just take your stuff away and throw it out. All right, you guys want to give my handshake before we leave? Just go.
You got some sound in